you look at the NBA and just the people we're talking. Westbrook apparently wants out. Russell Westbrook apparently wants out of Houston. He wants to move on. He wants to go to another situation. Now, I look at the situation with Westbrook, and don't get me wrong. Let's be clear about something. I love Russell Westbrook. Let me repeat myself. I love Russell Westbrook. And I look at Westbrook, and I look at that triple-double season. And that triple-double season was absolutely amazing. Never in my wildest dreams did I think a player could average a triple-double. You know, Oscar Robertson did it twice, but I didn't think anybody else could do it. No one, we've seen, we talk about if there's any guy that was going to do it, it was going to be LeBron. But Russell Westbrook did it not only once, but he did it twice, did 2 times. I mean, that's amazing. That's not easy. So Westbrook, when Durant left and went on to Golden State, I rooted hard for Russell Westbrook. I really did. I rooted hard for this guy. But here's the thing with Westbrook. And as great as he is, and the numbers that he put up last year were good. I mean, he put up some good numbers last year, averaged 27 points a game. I mean, he put up big-time numbers last year, Westbrook. But I'm looking at Westbrook, and I'm saying, if you're a contending team, do you want that? Do you want a guy who, he's a big personality, he's a big player. You know, he's a ball-dominant player. Likes to have the ball in his hand. Do you want that? And to me, if I'm a contender, I'm leery of it. I am. And I also think Westbrook, as great as he was and is, he's a declining asset. He's a guy who's had difficult time staying healthy. He's a guy, again, a volume shooter, a ball-dominant player, maybe even a ball stopper. Once he gets that ball in his hands, the ball stops, and it ends with a Westbrook shot. Now, it's still a guy that can put up numbers. Still a guy that can do some things. But is he a winning player at this point? I do believe this. If you look back at the year the Warriors 73 win season, right? And ultimately, if you look back at that season, OKC had the Warriors right where they wanted them. OKC had the Warriors down 3-1. It was Durant and Westbrook together. And those two were flying high, playing some big-time basketball. Them two together. I do believe, and ultimately you look at it, Westbrook, Harden, and Durant, they did get to the NBA Finals in 2012. They would lose to the Miami Heat. I do believe if Durant would have stayed in OKC with Westbrook, I do think that combination could have got at least one. I think they could have got one title. So I'm not one of these guys that say you can't win with Russell Westbrook. I'm not, because I think you can. But at the same time, if I'm a contender, I'm leery. I am. I'm leery. Does he fit? I mean, we saw ultimately when OKC, when Durant left, and then that 1 year, the couple years where Westbrook got those triple doubles, and then they get Paul George in there. They get Paul George, and it's not all on Westbrook, but ultimately Paul George and Westbrook couldn't deliver. Now you can talk about Paul George, playoff P, if you will. You can talk about Paul George, and he didn't deliver this year. Now, it's only 1 year. It's only one season. So, and you look at the Clippers, they still have to gel a little bit. But playoff P did not get it done. Didn't get it done last year. He didn't. Just did not get it done. So, I don't know. I don't know when it comes to Westbrook. Here's what I will say. A team like the Charlotte Hornets, who have been rumored to have interest, Michael Jordan, Westbrook have a relationship. Westbrook is with Jumpman and all that. So it kind of makes sense. And the Charlotte Hornets are struggling to create a buzz. They are struggling to create a buzz on some level. So a guy like Westbrook, Yes, he still has 3 years left at $132 million. But a guy like Westbrook brings interest to the Charlotte Hornets. Might even give him some wins. Probably helps him get to the playoffs. But anything more than that in terms of a champion, it does. Obviously, the Hornets don't become championship contenders if Westbrook joins the fold. No, it doesn't happen that way. But again, it brings buzz to that situation. So that would be an ideal situation if you're Russell Westbrook and if you're Michael Jordan and you're trying to create a buzz for your franchise. That would be ideal. Westbrook to Charlotte. That would be ideal. Now, again, obviously you'd have to make all that work in terms of salaries and things of that nature. But it would be interesting to see, and Michael Jordan has been notoriously cheap. So, we'll see how that will work. But that's an interesting destination. A team like the Detroit Pistons, another team looking to try to create a buzz. And, they had a hard time trying to create a buzz in Detroit. Ever since that team with Billups and Hamilton and Tayshaun Prince and Rasheed Wallace, it's been a struggle creating a buzz in Detroit. They tried it with Blake Griffin, but Blake Griffin has had a hard time staying healthy. Just that simple when it comes to Blake. But a guy like Westbrook brings buzz, instant buzz, to Detroit. It brings a buzz. I just think, do you want to pay 3 years, $132 million for Russell Westbrook at this point of his career? A guy that I think he's still playing good basketball. Don't get me wrong. But I think it's a declining asset. It's a declining asset. Do you want a declining asset and all that money you have to pay him? Do you want that? That's a question you have to ask yourself. Is it worth it? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And those are the questions that GMs, coaches, owners around the league are going to have to ask themselves when it comes to acquiring Russell Westbrook. Again, maybe the Knicks, we always talk about the Knicks in those situations. This would be a New York Knicks move, a perfect New York Knicks move. Westbrook in New York City, that'd be fun. It'd be fun. I'm not saying it would be profitable. I'm saying it's going to lead to a bunch of victories, but it could get you to the playoffs. It could. I'm not saying it's going to get you a championship, but it could get you to the playoffs for sure. But that would be fun, Westbrook to New York. Would be fun. But we'll see what happens with Russ, and we'll see how this whole situation plays out. It does appear, though, that Westbrook wants out of Houston, and where he lands, that should be interesting. At this point, in my opinion, I don't see a contending team taking that chance on Westbrook. I see more of a team a non-playoff team taking their chance or wanting to go after a Westbrook. We'll see how that whole situation plays out. But